This is a video to demonstrate the contouring operation on the Titan 1M part. So we're going to use a basic 2D path to do this, and we're just going to go up here to 2D milling and choose contour. Should be very straightforward. If we remain in 3D, since we have the 3D model, we can choose either loop or face the wing on the underside. But if I just come down here and pick this edge, it should loop around, and we can check this off. We can come down here then and say yes, we're done choosing the edges for our contour. And this jumps us right in here to our toolpath type. We're going to stick with contour. We'll go to our tool operation. I've already loaded the 3/8 flat end mill. If you still need to get it, you can go to the library tool. You can filter for it. You can choose to equal. I always do this 375. And maybe you say none here, and then come back and pick in mills here, and then apply your filter by hitting the check mark, and then there's your tool, and you can add it by choosing no case. I know I've already done it, so I'll just go ahead and say it. The 3/8, and I'll apply that so we know that that's selected. I'll move down to cut parameters. So the cut parameter says on the left compensation. Now I wasn't paying attention when I chose my tool path when I went around here. So I might find out the hard way that I should have been in the right toolpath. Or else I can reverse the toolpath itself, which would be best. If I wanted to do climb cutting, I would want to go around here with left tool compensation turned on. So I'm going to stick with left, and I'm going to adjust the angle direction if I need to later. Other things that we might want to notice in here, if we wanted to leave stock on the wall later for a finishing operation, we could do that here. Depth of cut, if we want to proceed through this in multiple depths. So here we can specify as we go around the part how many times would we want to plunge to make that move. So it's going to end up, we could say, well, I'm going to go, we have a 3/8 tool, so maybe we'd feel comfortable with 1/8 depth of cuts here. No problem with that. And if you want to have a finished cut on the bottom to finish off the last step, you could do that, and we can leave that at 50 thousandths. So we'll move on down here. Lead in, lead out. Lead in and lead out should be selected with some values we can live with for now, and we can take a look and see how they end up if we want to make any adjustments here. Breakthrough shouldn't matter. Multi-pass would only matter if we're going to work our way into the part one step at a time as we remove material with the side of our cutter. So since this is a small amount we're gonna take off here, we might just leave that with one pass. We'll take a look at it and see if we want to adjust it. Linking parameters. The only thing I might do here is choose clearance of 2-inch, and then probably go absolute on my retract so that it does absolutely go to a 1/4 inch above rather than incrementing up by 1/4 to retract. This gives me a nice clear retract above the part. Okay, so let's take a look and see where that put us. In terms of toolpath, I'll go ahead and regenerate all toolpaths, and we will view toolpath is turned on. So far this does not look good. It looks like we might be working on the wrong side of the part, but we'll just run it and find out. It's a good way to see. Hopefully the facing operation will come across, and then we're going to see our 3/8 end mill going, try to contour the part, and this is what it's doing. It's contouring the inside of our edge rather than the outside. So we know this is wrong. I'm going to go ahead and close this out right away. We're going to go to our chain geometry here and right click, and we'll just reverse it. You can see the arrow there. Now this tells me instead we're going to go around the part in a clockwise fashion where our left tool compensation would make better sense. I'll regenerate the operation again. I'll choose all operations to then come over here and verify. We'll see if that makes sense. I'm going to turn on toolpath. Okay, tool back on. Check. So we'll see the facing operation. We can speed this up if we want. Oops, still on the inside. Okay, well, we're going to take another look at that and see what we did wrong. Maybe that didn't stick. Let's go to parameters, cut parameters, where it automatically switched it on me. I switched the arrow direction and it switched it to right compensation, thinking it was doing me a favor, I guess. So we'll try this again. We will regenerate, we'll select all, and we will verify operation. See if this makes better look here. Okay, there's our lead in, and there's 1/8 of an inch. There's another 1/8 of an inch depth. Another 1/8 of an inch depth. You can see the lead in and lead outs are happening over here in the corner. We should be also putting a little fillet on the edge. You can see it here when I zoom in. We're going to leave some material on the bottom where this would be in our vise. We're going to cut that off in a very final operation. But this is looking okay for now. We want to talk about that lead in, lead out. If we didn't want to have that, we could plunge the tool. We could take a second finish pass if we didn't want to do this all in one pass. There's a couple things we can look at, so we'll just play around with that as options. Obviously, we come into our parameters again. We could also consider the tool speed, spindle speed, feed rate, surface feet per minute, because we can increase our surface feet per minute on this. We could easily be at 250 on aluminum. That's going to bring our spindle speed up and our feed rate, make us a little faster. We can come back to our cut parameters and let's take a look at this. Go down to multi-pass. So if we decided that we wanted to work our way in where we'd actually have a finish pass here, I would just go ahead and put in that we want to get a finish pass and make that be a 0.05 finish pass. So that should allow that to happen. And then what was the other thing? Oh yeah, so the lead in, lead out. So lead in, lead out. If we wanted to just lead in on the first depth cut only and exit only, so our lead out, lead in, lead out. We'll try that, and you'll see when I regenerate, all those extra lines out here are gone, but what's happening is it's making a plunge move. You also see the roughing and finish pass going around the perimeter. So we saved a little time one way, we added a little time the other way by adding that finish pass. Let's go ahead and add all operations, verify, run this through again, get the facing operation, and here is the, now it's retracting on every step here, moving off, clearing the part, and then doing the pass. So it's doing the roughing pass, the finish pass, roughing, finish, each time as it works around. So that is an option we could change too. Let's close this out. Okay, so to take another look at that, what I would do here is go back to our parameters, and let's look at just a couple things we can do. We can keep the tool down here. We'll adjust our number of passes as far as retracting. So if we take a look at our tool path, you don't see all those high retracts. There's still a retract here, but not as many as we had before. Another option we can do is instead of rough finish, rough finish, rough finish, each time it travels around the part, is we can say machine finish passes only after all the roughing of the contours is done. So what we'll do is we'll do all the roughing and then all the finish passes. Okay, so in our parameters, one of the other things we could look at, besides playing with our multi-passes here and the roughing, let's go ahead and run this again and just take one more look at it here. Selecting all, you're going to see, regenerate, okay. It's going to produce machining roughing, all the roughing passes. And we're really babying this thing right now because we're barely using the end mill to do work, as you can see. If we've got more flukes in this on our end mill, we should use a little more of it probably, because this isn't a very deep cut for aluminum. aluminum machining with high-speed steel tool. So let's pause it there. And let's take a little more aggressive approach. Something we could do is we could come back to parameters and we could turn off the depth of cuts, because we probably would say that we can still have the multi-pass approach, giving it that one finish pass going around the part, but we can take our depth of a cut and just go to full depth if we just turn it off here, and we won't have as many retract and lead in, lead out things to even think about. So now you kind of see the two tool paths here, and when we go ahead and choose all operations and verify, this is a more aggressive approach anyway, but it's not very aggressive for this piece. So we'll get the facing operation, and we're going to see the end mill come in, do a nice lead in, and around. This is roughing. We got one more pass coming around here. There's the next pass coming around. Let me see it. Okay, so this is another way we could approach it. We got quite a few options that we've looked at here to just contour the part. I hope that's helped us work on our contouring setup for this. And there's many other things in there we can play with to improve surface finishes and efficiencies of tool paths. But this is enough to get us started for now.